Hi everyone, good afternoon. Sorry I'm a bit off today. I had some car issues. Sorry, and couldn't get home in time. So, well, as you all know, today's interviews with Olivier Philippaerts. Oh, sorry, I'm just catching on my breath. He's already in, so I'm gonna invite him up, and we'll see how it goes. I know I'm not in my usual scenario, but it happens. So let's see how it goes, okay? Hi there.
Hi. Hi.
Hi. Now, first of all, thank you very much for accepting the invitation. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Sure. Thank you.
Well, first things first. I know Europe is a little bit better on the whole coronavirus situation, but how is it now and how is it to the horses?
Well, I mean, for sure, in our business, it's affected a lot. I mean, I go from being home from 6, 7 weeks a year until being stuck at home and doing actually zero shows. So for us, I have to say it's a very big difference. Hopefully, we can get back starting in a month or two, so we can start up again and compete our horses. Just for now, I mean, your horses have a bit of a break, so we're trying to give them their time. So I think for them, having a bit of a quiet time is for sure not a bad thing.
All right. Well, first things first. I know in your case specifically, it's a quite silly question, but when, why, and how did you start riding?
Well, obviously, I was actually born in a horse family, so all my life it has been about horses. So I have to say, I think even when I was younger, my dad was competing on top level, and then I've been to show to watch him on and cheer him on. And then obviously there came once a small pony, and then again a small horse, and then we started riding. And actually, we all enjoyed it, and it looked like we also were quite good at it. And then that's how it came. But actually, I have to say, we were never really pushed to be a show jumper. But of course, when we wanted to ride, then all the possibilities were there. My father was always behind us, trying to get the best horses for us. And so far, all the four brothers are competing.
Okay, so it's kind of in the blood.
Yes, it's for sure in the blood. I mean, it's a horse family. All our lifestyle, it's all adjusted to the horses, and we all want to even expand our business and make sure we can get as many as of our brothers into the top sport today.
Fantastic. Olivier, I'm not sure if you're aware, but in Brazil, we don't actually have a pony culture. We don't actually, the kids don't have ponies. They just go straight to this. And I was reading your interviews. Of course, Europe, that's a big deal. But do you think it's important?
Well, even I don't know if it's really important. I mean, I just think if it's now a pony or a horse, the most important thing is you gotta need a schoolmaster. I mean, you need to have a horse or a pony that carries you around. Even when you make a mistake, you have to learn. A horse that is very forgiving. I think that's really the most important thing to do. It doesn't matter if it's a pony or a horse.
All right. And when did you start competing for real?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, when I was 5 or 6, I started going around in a small pony, and I was a bit older. I'd say my first shows when I was like 10 years old, I assume. Very local shows. That's, I think, when it all started, yeah.
Okay, and when did you had your first, do you remember your first horse?
My first horse, that has been a while. I must have been when I was around 12 or 13 years old. I can't really remember a specific horse, but I do remember when I just got started into the junior level, I got a horse called Splendid. It was actually a horse with lots of experience, and he was actually my schooling masters for my younger years.
All right. And did you get to the Belgian teams? You are actually on the IF or something like that for the ponies? I can't remember.
Say it again, sorry.
Hold on just a second. If the dog stops barking. Thank you. Sorry. Now, I was reading on the interview that you gave, I think, to World of Show Jumping, that you
Yes.
were on the team for the ponies as well.
Yes, I mean, I was actually had a very good pony when I was around 11, 12 years old. So I think I participated in 3 European championships. So for me, I mean, the ponies were the first biggest step into my riding career, I think. But when I was around 13, 14, I've always been pretty tall for my age. So I stopped riding ponies when I was around 14 and switched to horses. But obviously, I actually had a great time when I was riding ponies.
All right. Well, of course, we all know twin brother. Was it a competition between the two of you along the career, or you support your?
Well, I mean, obviously, when we come into the ring, we are competitors, definitely, that's for sure. But I think on the other hand, it's also a nice and a good thing. If you're a little bit together in the same equal level, I think you learn to push each other to a higher level. And I think on the end, that was very good for us. I mean, we were always competing, and then one would have won this or one would have won that, and then the other one wants to overachieve him. So in one way, there was competition. But I think that's actually more, it was more a healthy rivalry. And I think on the end, I think that was very good for us. It always try to get each other to a higher level. And the most beautiful thing about it is that now we are competing in 5-star levels still together and competing against each other. So I mean, that's already quite. It's already quite. Yeah, like I said, it's very hard to get to this level, and now to do it both together, I think it's pretty cool.
Very good. And who choose which horse goes to whom?
Well, it's for sure my father is still the big boss in town. So I mean, he sure still decides who gets which horse. I mean, but actually, we try to think now when someone has a few less horses, or if you got sold, or and then we try to make sure everybody has the most horses as possible. I think is we all try to think in a general way to get our 4 brothers to a higher level.
All right. Do you think you and Nicola have a really style of riding?
Say it again, the question. I didn't really understand it.
If you and Nicola have a really different style of horse.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, we have a different style of horses, but I think that's also a very good thing, because, I mean, if you compete together in a show jumping stable, we got many horses coming in, coming out, and it's only a positive thing if we kind of like different style of horses. But also, we've always been taught when we were younger to learn to adapt to a horse, because like we say, we are in dealing stables, we get many different kind of horses, so we really have to learn to ride with any kind of horses.
Absolutely. Do you know how many horses you sell a year on an average basis?
I'm not exactly sure, but I'd say around 70. But that's everything together from the breeding. And but our goal is not to sell the most horses. I mean, what we really do is we really go around the road and find those young superstars. I think that's for us very important, and then we actually guide them up to higher level until the Grand Prix level, and then we sell them. So that's actually what we do. Obviously, we also try to keep some horses for us to compete in the sport, but it's not our goal to do the amount of horses. You just try to have the best quality of horses.
Fantastic. When did you actually decide that you want to become a professional in the show jumping business?
To decide is a hard moment. I think when you compete in ponies and juniors and young riders, in that moment you're always trying to get more and more. The level goes bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when I think turned 18, it was my first year in a five-star level. And then I have to say, at that point, we never really left again. So, and then obviously when you have some good results, you get keen to win more and more and more. So at that point, I think it was very obvious that my brother and me will continue the sport.
Very good. Do you remember your first major win?
I think my first major win, I think that was for sure the win in Spruce Meadows in Calgary. I think I was 19 years old, and for me to win that prestigious Grand Prix is still, up till now, the best moment I've had so far.
I think that's about right.
Yes, that's exactly this round. Yeah, it is.
Can you tell us a little bit about this horse?
Well, this is a horse. It came to our stable when it was 3 years old, and so I've known the horse since I was very small. And then when I got towards 6 or 7 years old, I started riding it, and it was a bit of a particular horse. He was very hot, but a very honest horse, very scopy, very very careful, and I always had a fit with him. And then I competed him into the juniors level, and then when I was 18, I started to go to 5-star shows, and then well, I mean, that week in Spruce Meadows, that horse, he really he loved that place. I think it was the second or third year I've been there with him, and that horse, he changed into a machine in that ring. And that horse, up till now, for me, it's been one of the best horses in my career, because it was a very scopy horse. And also at that time, I was also very unexperienced, and he always managed to carry me around and pull me to the next level.
Very good. Do you know, of course you know that, but just for record, you become the youngest rider to win Grand Prix medals.
Yes, of course. I know that, and I'm something to be very proud of. I mean, to win, I remember very good. I've been there a few times before, and I always said to myself, "Oh, this is a Grand Prix. Everybody wants to win in his life." So if you ask any of the best riders in the world, they say, you ask them what Grand Prix they want to win, they will always say Aachen, they will say Geneva, and they will say Spruce Meadows and Calgary. So I'm obviously very, very proud to be the youngest one who won that one in Spruce Meadows.
Amazing. Of course, you said that it might have been one of the most important things of your career. Was that the one?
Yes, I think for sure was that the one, because I think a win you'll never expect, but for me that was so unexpected, because I remember, I think it was the second time I jumped that Grand Prix, and for sure I had a lack of experience. I didn't jump that much that level, and I remember my father told me, you know what, just try, and if it doesn't work out, then just don't finish the course, just see how it goes. And then yeah, I won. It was something extremely exceptional, because my father was third in the same Grand Prix as well. So to have that kind of result from my 19 years old, it's good possible that moment, it's going to be the best moment in my entire life, because something to overachieve that, it has to be something extremely special, because that was very, very special to me.
Very good. Do you remember your first 5-star?
My first 5-star winner, what do you say?
Senor, just a second.
No problem.
No. Senor. Do you remember your first 5-star Grand Prix? What was the feeling of going to the arena for the first time on a Grand Prix?
What won my first 5-star Grand Prix? To be honest, I don't remember. I don't remember my first 5-star Grand Prix. But I do remember, because when I was around 16, 17, my father brought us around in other 5-star competitions. So we were allowed to jump every other class, just not the Grand Prix. So we have actually jumped a few 5-star shows, but then the Grand Prix was never there. And then the year I turned 18, I could jump a 5-star. But I don't really remember exactly which one it was. No, I forgot.
No problem. On the other side of the coin, you said that the best moment of your career was Spruce Meadows. What was the hardest of your career so far?
The hardest moment of my career? It must have been, I went to the European Championships in Gothenburg. I think that's 3 or 4 years ago, with a horse. And in the warm-up, I had a fall on the water jump and dislocated my shoulder, so I could not compete. I think that was a very tough moment, because in a year time, you always work towards a point, and then before it even gets started, you're already out. So I think that was a tough moment. But I do have to say, I think it's very important to make sure those tough moments, you think about what went wrong, and then continue and learn about it, and then try to get better.
Very good. Olivier, of course, you rode a lot of horses in your career. I was checking on your FEI list. You rode on FEI list over to 100 horses. So I have a few questions about your horses. First of all, is to pick 3. One horse, the horse of your lifetime so far. So I guess you already answered that, but just to make it clear. The second one would be the moneymaker. And the fourth would be the one that got away.
Okay. For sure, the special one, I think it must have been Cabrio, the one I won in Spruce Meadows with. It was a very special horse to me. It still means a lot to me. Second one, the moneymaker, I think it must have been H&M Legend of Love. I mean, I've the horse now for 5-6 years, and this horse is extremely competitive and is always a fighter in the ring. And yeah, she has been an incredible horse for me to participate at the Global Champions Tour. And I think the third horse. Yeah, go ahead.
What's the story behind Legend of Love?
I think I met Legend of Love on the end of 7 in Germany. We tried her, and then managed to find an agreement with the owner, and I started riding her. She's a bit grumpy, you will see that, but she is so much quality, and she's a real fighter in the ring. And on the end, that's her quality. I mean, in the ring, she really wants to do the best she can for you.
And the one that got away?
The one that got away, well, maybe it's not the horse that got away, but it's the horse I rode. Used to call Charisma because I think.
Go back.
Yeah, the horse that got away, I think it was Charisma. I got the horse when I was around 15 or 16 years old, and then I was lucky to participate with it in the European Championships, which she won as an individual, and then we've sold her to a Danish girl, and then on the end, you might have known her with Danny Goldstein, rode it, Daniela Goldstein,
yep.
And jumped also European Championships with the seniors, was very, very successful. So I think that was, for me, a great horse, a really, really good horse. But luckily, it came to a good place, but I think it was a horse, if I could have had a bit longer, for sure, it would have been very important to me as well.
Very good. What was, up to now, the hardest course you jumped?
The hardest course, to pick one out, it must be very difficult to pick one out. But I always remember the courses are very hard for me. They are in Barcelona Nations Cup final, very difficult but very good builds. Spruce Meadows, very difficult courses. And obviously Aachen. I mean, these three shows, they are always, I remember very well once in Barcelona, normally you walk a course once or twice, but then at that shows you walk it 3-4 times because there's so many different options. And these were for sure the most difficult places I jumped.
Okay, well, as I said before, you jump on FEI over 100 horses up to now. Is the most important quality you look for a horse when you're looking to buy a horse for you?
I think for sure now when you try horses, you look for quality. That's for sure very important. But on the end, the most important thing is their intelligence. That's just so important. But that's also something you can't really judge from one time. If you try it once, it's impossible. So it's something you will notice in a few months' time, and when you ride them. And on the end, an intelligent horse with a good character, for sure, I think is the #1 priority.
We have like 15 questions already for you.
No problem.
I'll go with them a little bit later. If you could choose any horse on history to have under your saddle, which horse would that be?
Any horse. There've been so many good horses, but I think Hickstead from Eric Lamas, I find it was a very exceptional horse. A lot of blood, a lot of quality, a lot of scope, a real fighter in the ring. For me, that was really an exceptional horse.
A rider that you look up to?
These days, there are so many good riders. To pick a few out, for sure, for me, Ludwig Beben has for sure been a role model as an athlete, but also if you see, he has created a system that many other riders brought to the top level. I think that's also a very important thing. And then I think, I mean, Daniel Dorser is these days one of the best of the best. He can ride with any horse. For sure, these are people I look up to.
Fantastic. Well, if everything goes as planned, I will interview Ludwig on Saturday, so
okay.
Hopefully good. Well, go now for a little bit more of what you think questions. So feel free not to answer a bit weird. First of all, we are going to a lot of changes in this sport for the next few years, to be honest.
Yes.
One of the sorry, Frank Schuster has sent you a question.
Yes, it's a good friend of mine. I saw it. Yeah.
Sorry, couldn't stop laughing. Anyway, what do you think of the new Olympic system, taking one horse out, one rider out, and for the team go first? No, sorry, the individual go first.
For me personally, I don't think it's a very good thing in the sport. I mean, the system with 4 riders, I think it worked very well. You have one drop score, which is important. Even if a horse gets injured while in a competition, you can still compete with the win with 3 other riders. But of course, when it all goes down to 3 riders and something happens in the competition, then you can have 2 amazing rounds, and a horse, let's say by jump number 5 gets an injury, and you go from top to bottom. And I don't think that's very good for our sport. But I'm sure the FIA has good reasons for it as well. But that's just my point of view about it.
All right. Well, the second rule that's about to change, and they sent a letter last week saying that's going to be changing straight on 1st of January, is the hind. What do you think about the regulation for the hind boots? How is it going to affect our sport?
It's hard to say how it's going to change, because it's going to change for everybody the same way. For sure, it also depends of your horse. Some horse needs more boot than the other one. The only thing, it's getting a bit difficult because our 5-star shows, it's a very, very tough, big level, and they always want to make sure we do the same level with less possibilities. So maybe we have to see, but maybe they have to take a relook as well at the competitions, because it's a tough competition, and without the hind boots, for sure, it's going to change a lot. And maybe they'll have to change the difficulties, because now everything gets very, very difficult with the hind boots, and then without, it's for sure an option less.
Okay. What is the importance of the flat work on show jumping horses?
I think it's the most important with show jumping horses. I think the flat work and the basics are really, really important. I think that's number 1 thing you have to work on. When a horse gets to around 10, 11 years old, not every horse has the same flexibility or things than other horses, and you also have to respect that a bit. If I give an example, my Grey Mare Legend of Love is not a dressage horse at all. I tell you, it's not. But I also respect that. I try to get as far as I can, but also respect the way she is, and that I keep them happy and also in front of me instead of against them.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, we have one question from Marie. I can't read the surname, but Marie Rotten. What is your question and how your horses on the Corona time if you are working them?
My motivation, for sure. My motivation is to compete, to win, to get better. I always want to improve myself, to bring myself to a new level. For sure, now in the Corona time is a little different. I mean, normally when you go to a show and you get some mistakes left and right, you come at home and you say, oh, now I have to train on this, on that, try to improve things. And that's now different because you don't show. So I think now what we do more is try to bring us attention to the younger horses, and then try to improve them and make sure we work on our future.
Okay. There is a trick question, but Elsa Carlson is asking, who of you and Nicola will be the big boss in the future?
That's difficult, because beside Nicola, we still have Anthony and Thibaut as well. So they're also with 4 brothers. So far, my father is still the boss. But I think it's important we get along well and take the decisions together. And then the future-wise, hopefully we can run our stables with 4 brothers.
All right. Peter Clement is asking, who makes all the scores on the green grass arena?
What did he say? Who makes what on the grass arena?
Who makes all the courses on the green grass?
We have got a great guy. He's called Andre. He's coming every week to our stables, or every day normally. And he's truly a master. He goes around on internet trying to find courses and build them up. So people like Peter Clemens and Frank Schutte, they can enjoy their time in our grass field.
Very good. Who was your idol? Is it your dad?
I mean, for sure, my dad has been the most important person to stand where I am now. I remember he was very, very successful himself. And then on the end, actually, he quit riding to give my brothers and myself another future and buy many horses. So for sure, he's the most important person for that.
Okay. There is a question. I will put it on, but please don't be mad because I don't know what's written.
Don't worry.
Some language which
yeah, so that's friends of mine that live in the area. They're trying to learn some new stuff, so they're asking if we're coming for a drink tonight. So far I'm not sure yet, depends how we finish up here, maybe later. Okay,
that's Frank Schutte, right?
Yes.
Frank, if you are in here, I want to interview you eventually, so please send me. Okay.
You should make an interview with him because Frank and Peter, they're for sure sitting together and they're both great show jumpers. So I tell you, you should interview them as well.
Please, well, take the invitation to them then, because I'm not sure if they're watching.
Yeah, I think they're watching. Yeah.
Okay, that's another trick question. Which one of your horse or horse will compete?
I think my twin brother has two very good ones. I think that's Chili Willy and Katanga. These two, I think they're great. So for sure, it's horses I would love to have under my saddle.
Okay. Well, I know that we don't have many, but the Brazilian. What do you think about the Brazilian riders today?
I think they have an extremely good team. I think if you see how they continued in the last 3 years to make more riders. We always knew about Rodrigo Pessoa. He was one of the best ones in the world, but there were only a few. But now they're coming with a strong team. So you see that many Brazilians, they came to Europe to learn their jobs. And these days they have really a very, very strong national team.
Okay. Also, another question that was sent to me privately, and I've been doing some research on it. What is the importance of the group? And if you have one showgroom?
For sure, the showgroom is very, very important because they really take care about the well-being of your horse. And on this high level of show jumping, to keep them sound and healthy, it's very important. So they have to know your horse and they have to know what they need to do, how to take care of them. So that's, for me, very important. Myself, I work with two people. I've got one show jumping room and then I've one a rider / groom at home. So we try to make a good system that whenever I am not home, they get trained well. And then when I'm at the show, I have the best person with me.
Great. Let's see what's going on. Okay. What do you think is the best quality for a rider to have? And I'll put another question on top of it. What do you think is your best quality for a rider?
I think the best quality for a rider to have is the will to improve you as a rider. I think it's very important. It doesn't matter what level you are, you always have to try to improve yourself on your downsides. I think that's for everybody different. But the key to learn something new, I think that's extremely important.
And what is your best quality?
Like I think my best quality is even on a setback or on a bad results, I always try to improve myself on points I do less or I did less at the time and improve myself to as strong as I can be.
Okay. I've seen this question from the GC, from Global Champions questions. If you could re-jump one round on your food round, that would have been?
If I could jump one round in my life again.
Jump again.
Huh. I think if I jump one round again, it must have been last year in Aachen, the Grand Prix. I remember I had the second last fence down, which was actually a rider's mistake. So for sure, my horse was in great shape that day, in great form, and I really think that I actually a bit fucked it up myself. That's why a rude way to say it, but that's the truth. You know, I made a rider's mistake, and if I could do that round again, I love doing it again because I'm sure that day it could have been more than it was.
Very good. Olivier, you said that many of your horses got a young horse, 3 years. Was it 3-year-old got to your stables? What do you believe key on developing a horse to the high sport?
Developing a horse, I think it's you really have to look every horse in a particular way. Some horses needs more experience, or other need less experience, or they grow up quicker. It's you have to feel with your horse how quick they can go up in the level. You have to respect their time to grow in it, and I think that's very important. When you bring good horses too quick, they always get a setback, and that's not so good. So I think it's you really have to take a look at every horse and try to make the best schedule for everyone.
All right. Let me see what I got. Do you give lessons?
Well, to be honest, before I didn't give so many lessons because I was always gone. But now, yes, now actually we're teaching quite a lot because now we have the time to do it, and I also enjoy doing it. So for sure, now we make space and time to teach.
Okay. I know that your father has come to Brazil a couple of times. What do you think about giving a clinic in Brazil?
Well, we have done many clinics in Brazil. We've worked together with Quality Horse with Yuri Manzur many years when he used to live in Brazil. So we actually did many clinics there, and obviously, for sure, I would love to do it once again.
Very good. Do you like Brazil?
Yes, I like Brazil. I liked what's it called, Foga de Show, the restaurant for cow. I think that's truly the best I've had.
All right. Okay, that's someone that's asking, how do you deal with things when they go to plan on a Grand Prix?
Well, that's obviously it's quite hard when you make a mistake and you have to blame it yourself. Then it's a bummer. But I think we don't have to forget. Normally we lose a bit more than we win, so you have to be able to accept that. But also, I think it's important when you have a win to really enjoy it, because these moments are very special and they go past very quickly.
Very good. Do you remember your junior horse, Prado?
Yes, I do remember him. It's a long time ago. But yeah, he was actually a very cool horse. Definitely was.
And what's the story behind it?
I mean, the horse, I don't know exactly how old I was at the time. But for sure, I think it was a horse when I participated in the children's and juniors. So for sure, in the beginning, it was a very important horse for me to continue my career.
Oh, very good. Let me see if I got anything. People are sending some of the questions. They send it's silly or you have an answer. So, okay. Do you have any challenges to achieve this year?
Well, I mean, this year it's difficult because of the coronavirus. We do not know where it's going to end this year or when it's going to start. But for next year, it's definitely the Olympic Games. It's the #1 goal.
All right. And who do you plan on trying for the Olympics?
I have now H&M Extra. He has been actually together with Legend of Love, my best horses. And I think this is really a horse, a great championship horse. So for sure, that's my #1 pick for Tokyo.
Okay. How does the selection for the Belgium team happen?
I think our chef de keep, we knew in the beginning of the year what Nations Cups we had to jump, so we really could make a good plan to these kind of shows, and it was for everyone different. We had to do 1 or 2 Nations Cup and really work to one point, because that's on the end what you have to do. You have to work to one point and get the best out of it, and I think that was for everyone different, but for sure there were a few Nations Cup we had to do.
Okay, but it's a wild card decision. Decide whoever they want.
So
decision.
Yeah, so our chef de keep, Peter Weinberg, he has the decision who's going to go where. I think he has done a great job in Belgium, and I think it works very well. And also in these shows, when you the results are good or bad. It's also a bit of yourself, but on the end, it's his decision to make.
All right. Are you any way of superstitious?
No, actually, I'm not at all superstitious. Some people want to wear the same gloves or the same jacket or things like that. I don't have that at all. No, I'm not at all superstitious. No.
Can you tell us a little bit of your partnership with H&M?
Well, I think I partnered up with H&M how many years ago now? Must have been 4 or 5. And of course, it was a great thing for us to be partnered with a great company like H&M. Really gave a boost to our career. I mean, I think that that they stand behind us. They still do now, and they really want to make sure they push us to the top level. And I'm very grateful to have them.
Fantastic. Well, during a couple of shows, they developed some different looking, to say that, on jackets. But you said you, from the past year, I think you gone back to the classic and usual. Was that a thing? Was it a tryout? Try it?
Well, I mean, of course, their jackets, everybody's noticed their jackets. They're very, very particular. But on the other hand, what they want is to stand out. So, and for sure, they've worked out well. Some I like a bit less, which is obviously the same with the people look at them. But I think that, yeah, I think it's one way to pull the sport open and to get more fashion into it. And for sure, I think it has worked.
Okay. With your fan page, Olivier Philippaerts page, which is kind of something, you have a lot of fan pages and clubs and stuff, which is, well done to you.
Right.
How do you choose who you take to the shows, especially between extra and legend?
Well, I think it's because it depends a little bit what shows I'm going to. I think probably for the Global Champions Tour, I've taken Legend. She's very competitive. But then to bigger competitions, or not bigger, different ones like Nations Cups in Barcelona and like Aachen or Calgary, I think this day will be extra. So for sure, these are actually 2 horses, both for 2 different competition shows. All right.
You actually jumped for a lot of teams on GCLs for the past few years. Last year, on the Knights?
London Knights. Yeah, we've been part of the London Knights, I think, the last 3 years. And I mean, they have a great team. We have won twice, so we have a very good team now, and we would like to continue the next few years with them because we've been very good with them, and hopefully they'll be good with us. So I think it's a great partnership.
Okay. Anderson Lima is asking top 3 Global Champion Tour legs in your opinion.
Number 1, Mexico City. Number 2, the playoffs in Prague. Number 3, maybe Estoril. I think these 3 shows are great.
Fantastic. Well, I watched the interview between Edwina and Danny. And then he also said, Edwina agreed that Mexico is number 1. Why is that? What is so different about Mexico that everyone just loves it?
I think the settings in Mexico are great. You have a big grass ring, and there is so many people coming to watch the show and cheer us on. I think for us as a rider, we love to have many crowd there cheering the riders on. It's a very open people, a very friendly people there. And they really support the show, and truly the view is exceptional there.
Very good. Edwina's watching us. Hi, Edwina. What is the hardest part about riding at your level?
Probably, I think the hardest part must be the traveling, I think. I mean, in one way, it's very cool. You see many different places all around the world. But on the other hand, if you fly week in, week out, it's also very exhausting. So on that point, I'd say that's a bit of downside. But on the other hand, I think we're very lucky to see all around the world. And I think that's also a very, very positive side on it.
One thing that, well, Frank Schutter said that silly thing about you being single, but that's one thing that must be hard on traveling like crazy. It's a hard thing to make routes.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I'm actually never at home. I mean, we're 3 days home a week, we travel around, and sure, I think it's important to to get used to the level, but also if you use this level and now we're home for 8 weeks non-stop, it makes a big difference to us.
Okay. Another question from a Brazilian friend of mine saying, how do you deal with the pressure before important? Do you get really anxious?
What I try to do is I really try to calm myself, make sure I'm very under control. I think it's very important to be able to control your nerves, because if you lose them, you have no chance of winning. So I think it's very important I calm myself to be very focused and do the course step by step.
Well, you are a really, really young rider and had so many big wins. I can't remember the FEI number right now. Unfortunately, as I said in the beginning of the interview, I had some car trouble, so I don't have
Sure, no problem.
Which is silly. But anyway, is it different being the young one?
Well, yes, I am still one of the younger ones, but now also they're for sure getting younger ones now after me. I think it's because also my dad, we have always pushed us when we were younger into the level, and then we were lucky to have the right horse at the right time. So, but I think it's also because my dad had so much experience. For sure, he makes sure we made the right moves. He always said, because if he made a mistake, he had to learn about it. And now he tells us right away in the beginning to take this way or do it like that. And all of this kind of information makes a huge difference in a younger age. That's the same. You need a very good teacher, and I think that's very important in your younger years.
Right. Well, I remember that you had good result on the Nations Cup, with your brother and your father in the same team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How was the experience of jumping with your dad? Was it really tough on you guys?
Yeah, I think that was cool. I remember, I think we were third in that Nations Cup together with Jos Lansing, my father, Nico, and me. I think we have done a few Nations Cup with 3. I think it's for sure very cool, because Piazza di Siena is one of the biggest shows in the world as well. And do that together with your older family, I think it's very good. And to end up in the top 3, very nice. And then maybe in the future, guys, we would like to do a Nations Cup with the 4 brothers. That would be actually something cool to see once.
I can imagine. And put your dad as keep have the
Yes,
whole.
I think so. Great idea.
Talking about family, are you this kind of family that you can leave things in the arena, or once you go out struggling and fighting and arguing about what happened inside?
No, I think for sure when you compete with a family, it's very good. We can discuss things. For sure, everybody has different ideas, different options, different way of doing, and we can go through it and try to figure out the right way to do it. So I think for me, I only see that as a positive thing.
Okay. Well, one question that might not be really easy to answer, but if you could choose any horse in the day, try it out, or to jump one course, imagine a rotation. Would be the rotation of your lifetime?
Oh, around one horse. I mean,
no, I can give you 3. Imagine a rotation. Imagine you're back on the rotation of the World Cup.
So you want? I have to. I mean, there's 3 horses that I would like to.
I would say 1 or 3. You can choose. Either you choose one horse out, and
yeah, I mean,
or we can imagine a rotation back again.
Yeah, probably. I think Hello Sanctos or something, or Big Star. I think these 2 they've been exceptional. And what I like about it is, you see, with Hello Sanctos, it was a great combination with Scott Brash. I think I've seen the horse when I was younger in Belgium, and I never really caught my eye. And then, like I see here, probably Edwina says that Ito de Chateau, it's a great horse as well. Probably a bit small for me, but I mean, a great horse. But the Hello Sanctos, I mean, for sure it made Scott to what he is now, and Scott made Sanctos to what it is.
Very good. Wait. Okay. Do you get really stressed when you see your little brother jumping?
Sure, for sure. I really like to them to do good. I like to really to make themselves get each other to the highest level as possible, together what we did. So I think we're all standing behind them to get a career as well.
Okay, but do you get anxious? Do you get like nervous? Do you have to?
I wouldn't say anxious, but of course, I mean, when they jump a big class for the first time, I get a little tense. Yeah, I can say that.
Who is coaching them? You and your brother, or your dad is coaching them?
For sure, I think my father is more because he had more time when we went to the show. But when they go to the show together with us, I really try the best I can to help them the right way.
Fantastic. Gosh, there's some questions that are just so weird that I'm afraid to send it to you. That might be, when you tried Frisbee, did you love her straight away? She's for sure my favorite point of view.
Oh well, Frisbee, I think she is such a cool horse. I mean, the horse came to our stable when it was 7. Now it's 9, and she's very small. She's like 159 or 160, so it's very small. But she also has an amazing character, and her capabilities are very good. So I think it's a horse that can jump big classes. But also it's a horse. It's a fighter in the ring, and it's just a great brain. So that's why I think it's very important.
Okay. Well, usually by now people has already sent me asking you to tell a story that usually funny or embarrassing, which is a good laugh. But no one has sent me like, oh, please ask him to tell that story. So I gotta have like ask. So Yannick is actually asking, can you tell a funny or embarrassing story that happened to you on a show?
Yes, I remember one particular moment. It was in Barcelona, Nations Cup final. How many years ago? I don't remember, like 5 years ago or something. And they have a big old iron gate to open and to close. And I remember I was waiting to get in to go on the ring, and they were opening the gate, and the gate got stuck. So my horse went in, and I got the gate in between my legs. So he kicked me off. So I fell off my horse right away before I had to jump. So they catched my horse, so I had to go back on and jump in the ring and then jump my round. So that's for sure one of the most embarrassing moments I've had.
Oh, unfortunately, I do not either with me, but I would surely look for it.
Yeah.
What is your favorite show?
Favorite show must be Aachen for sure. Aachen is for every rider something exceptional.
Okay. Do you have? I know that for me it doesn't make sense, but do you prefer mares, geldings, or stallions? Is there a difference for you?
No, I don't think there's any difference. But for sure, I think on the end, the mares or the stallions have this extra amount of character what can even improve them or make them extra special. But I don't think it makes a very big difference, no.
Okay. We'll see what else we got. Okay. What do you think are the strongest nations team to Tokyo 2021?
I think Ireland is very strong. Germany is always strong, but I do have to say I think Belgium is also very strong. I think to say these days we've got a couple of very good riders, good horses, good combinations. I think we have to be proud in our country because we created a system with many good riders at the top level and all quite young. So it's for sure, hopefully the future looks bright for Belgium.
Is there a breeding that you really like, a stallion or a bloodline?
I have always been a big fan of Cardento offsprings. I mean, I myself have been quite good with them. Obviously, the mares were the best ones we've had. But yeah, Cardento is something I really like.
Very good. What else? Well, you are on a breeding. You are breeding some horses at home, right?
Yes, we used to breed around 20 a year, but now we go until 10 a year. Yes.
Had you take any offsprings of Legend of Love yet?
No, we did not because we don't really want to do any embryos with her because it's quite of a challenging thing for a mare. But whenever her top sport career is finished, we would love to breed with her. Yeah.
Fantastic. Cabrio, we already talked about. There is, well, I will put it on. I'm not sure if. What do you think about the show in Samarin?
I have never been, to be honest, but I know my brother has been, It's an amazing setting. I've seen pictures and videos. It's for sure these days a setting for a 5-star show. So it looks really amazing, and I would love to go there once. Yeah, definitely.
That's can be a question. How do you decide between like all of you where to go and when to go together or to go apart?
For sure, we'd like to do as many shows as possible to go together, but also it gets difficult. You get to a 5-star level, the places are limited, so we try to make for sure a plan for each other to have the right horses or the right amount of shows, not too many, not too little. That's very important, and whenever it suits, we will try to go together.
Okay, might be silly, but who's the older one?
Nicola's older.
Okay, someone was asking that, so I try to keep reading the comments, reading the questions, and understand what you're talking about at the same time. Who do you prefer? No, that's not. I'm not going to do that. Sorry. What was your feeling when you competed in Qatar?
In Qatar, I mean, I've been in Doha for a couple of years, and also this settings there, it's truly amazing. I've seen many places, but what they've built there is truly exceptional. And I think what I see now, the people in Qatar are really getting more and more into the sport, because a couple of years ago there was a bit less people or fans watching, but now it's getting people interest there, and it's getting more and more people. So for sure, that's a great part for our sport.
Amazing. Do you have any tip to put a horse more of your leg?
Yes, many transitions. I would say you go from walk to trot to walk, or to canter to walk, and quite quick after each other. That makes them for sure more off the leg, and I use that a lot at home.
What is your daily routine?
Sorry, say it again.
Your daily routine. What's your
my daily routine? I try to be at the stable at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then normally at the office I sit together and then see what things I have to do or get changed, and then I start riding my horses. And then actually it changed every day. Now some days I have to teach, some days I have to go and try horses, and but I try to ride my best horses in the morning until lunchtime, so they get my most attention. And then the afternoon I try to ride some younger ones, or I go and try a horse, or I have to teach a bit. So that's actually basically my daily routine.
Okay. Well, thinking about your top horses, what is usually they go out one. Do you ride them twice? Do you take them to the hacks? What?
When my best horses, in their show jumping time, I'd like to do it 3 times a day. So they go in the paddock for an hour or two, then I ride them, and then they take them to the forest. So they move a lot. When they go to the forest, they mainly do walk and trot because they've worked already once in the paddock. But I try to take them moving a lot, and that keeps them fit, I think.
How hard is to get a horse on the top level of their shape on the ground when the championship arrives?
I think it's very difficult, and there are not so many riders who can do that. I think it's truly you need to have a right trainer who knows how to get your horse to the right level. But I think now, if you ride your horse a couple of years, you know in what moment he's on his best. So you really have to create a system and think about this is how I'm going to train my horse for the right show. And I think that's for every horse different, but it's the rider's job to do that, to make that work.
Very good. Was there ever a moment that you thought about stop riding?
No, actually not. No, I for sure had down moments, but I always had after down moment I wanted to improve and to become better, and I think that's a very important attitude.
All right, very good. That is a question that makes no sense, but I'll try anyway. Is that true that you are going pro golfing?
Pro golfing? No, not pro golfing. No, I do enjoy to play golf. I have to say, I enjoy to go and do it whenever I have time. I'm not very good yet, but it's something for sure I'd like to get more into it.
Fantastic. Well, we are almost at the end of it. As I said to you before, it lasts around 1 hour, an hour and a half. It depends on how much people ask. I'm not going to make there's plenty of funny, weird questions that might be. But But people love you. You are a fan, and that you're amazing. Asking if you're still single. Anyway, there's plenty of questions.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to ask you is, what is your advice to a young rider or to just amateurs that want to develop and to become eventually a 5-star rider?
I think when you're younger, the most important thing is to have a trainer by your side who really has knowledge about the sport, knowledge about how to train. Because in your younger years, when you have a bad trainer, it's sometime you will never catch up with it again. So really try to find a good trainer with experience, and he can really work to you in the right way, and then you get already a very long way in the sport.
Very good. Let me see if I got anything else. Oh, that's a good one. I was trying that only with the Brazilians because usually that's what I know. But what will be your dream team for the Belgian team in Tokyo? I won't say Tokyo. I would say the dream team of the all time, not to put the pressure into Tokyo.
But then a team has to be all Belgians then, right?
Yeah.
Right. So for sure that's gonna be my brother with Chili Willy, myself with Extra. Who else? Because in Belgium the competition is tough these days. I tell you that.
I was talking with Gregory the other day. I was like,
yeah, you have Gregory Watson, Niels Bruinzels, Peter de Vos. They're all very good. So to pick one of those, I think Niels Bruinzels has an.
Can go fast. Like, it doesn't have to be from now. You can put your father with someone if you want to.
I sure. Then I put my father. I put my father with Otterongo. He's best horse ever. So then we already have 3. So I need one more. And I think Jos Lansing. I think that that's a pretty cool team.
Well, that's the team that jumped the Piazza Siena one.
Yes, exactly. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Very good. Well, Olivier, thank you very, very much for your time. I'm sorry that it was a bit messy today. I'm usually not that messy.
No problem, no problem.
I will ask you, of course, if you can, to send the invitation to Frank Schutter and Peter Clement if they would be up to it.
Yes, I will.
But more than that, thank you very much for your time. You have
Thank
such
you.
a huge fan club. I am a big fan of you as well. And I hope to see you really soon on the course again.
Thank you. I hope so too. Thank you for your time and inviting me.
Thank you very much. Have a great night. Have a good drink. Good dinner.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, everyone, thank you very much for watching that. I'm sorry it was a bit messy today. I had some struggles with car and things as I told you before. For you that are watching for the first time and don't know me, my name is João Markun. I am a photographer, well, now internationally, but I'm based in Brazil. And I took the time to start making new content about show jumping. So if you have names that you want me to put, if you want to talk about a little bit more, please send me a message. My contacts are all open. Thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure to me. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow night in Brazil, we'll have an interview with Priscila Azevedo. That's a really top vet here. Okay? Thank you very much, all. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. And remember, on Saturday, I think it's 8 p.m. Belgian time, I will have Ludger Bierbaum talking to us. Okay? Thank you.